Hello everybody. So in my last couple of videos I've talked about drawing eyes, and this was my most ambitious attempt lately. It was a picture of Orson Welles, and I posted it to Facebook and somebody was saying, wow, you really mastered this. So haven't. This was me drawing from imagination as opposed to reference here. Orson Welles has quite a lot of crags and things going on with his face, and it was an older photo. I mean, duh, it's Orson Welles, so necessarily everything's an older photo. But the more I was looking at my stuff, I would look at other people at their YouTube videos and how they draw eyes and how they just really just grab you as far as how realistic they are. And so I was thinking about a line from Kinky Boots, not the musical, as I didn't see it, but the movie. In the movie, when the shoemaker tries to make kinky boots and does them where they're just men's boots for reasons, because that's what he knows how to make. He doesn't really know how to make stiletto boots. So he just makes like knee-high boots, whatever, that just have regular men's soles on them. And the drag queen who wants him to make the boots says the sex is in the heel. And I thought of that about applying that to drawing eyes, then the line would be the sex is in the pupil. Not that you can tell one's sex by one's pupil, I don't think, but I thought, well, the thing that really catches like my eye when I look at people's thumbnails or their art when they do eyes, especially if they're doing it in the realistic style, it is the pupil, because the detail they put into it is more than just simple shading or just coloring it black or whatever. And so I was really interested in learning more about how to do it. So I was watching things like Rapid Fire Art, and I was watching Sylvie Mahdal, and seeing the structural spokes is the word for it. But the way that they get these lines and these variations, and truly, because hair and eyelashes and stuff would be in the way typically, or eyelids and stuff, but I thought, well, why not just draw the pupil with no obstruction and work on that technique, because eventually if I draw another eye, it'll come in handy later that I'll have that in my head as I go to do it. So speaking of Sylvie Mahdal, she very rarely appears in her own videos, I've noticed, but once in a great while she does make an appearance. So I paused the video, as is my wont, and I've been doing this with a lot of people on YouTube. I'll just pause the video and I'll try to draw their eyes, with mixed results. Well, with her, it's really quick when she appears on the screen, so you have to pause it and hope that it freezes right. So I wasn't super happy with this take of it, so I just kind of whipped through it with the number 2 pencil. And then I took a screen cap and did it again. So this is more or less the same eye twice. One where I was trying to quick grab it off the screen, and then another time where I was more deliberate about it. Especially when it's like you're not having to worry about the stupid ads on YouTube messing everything up. If you have a screen cap, you can just kind of work with at your leisure. So you'll notice, like with this, the information was she just had the old studio light blasting her in the face and then the end of it. But here we get much more nuance because I have more time to see the nuance. And rather than doing the famous draw the rectangle or whatever the shape is, I originally did it really light, but then I erased it out and made sure I just kept going back over with an eraser to kind of bring in these lights. So that's the number 2 pencil version. Now, a lot of people, her included, say don't do it all with the number 2 pencil, really, because you're not going to really get variations and you can't really get the wide range that you'd like with just this. But my counter argument is, especially when you're learning, is you need simplicity. And the last thing you need is this, because as much as I love the toys, it's too much to process. But what this does for you with the HB or the number 2 pencil is that the limitations of this teach you what you're missing by not having this. So this is my rough crap sketchbook that's going to eventually hit the end at some point. There's not much left to it, and then I'll just move to another one. So I was at Walmart recently and I bought another sketchbook because, that's what I need. But this is my good sketchbook. And so once again, I was like, when I'm comfortable with the eyes, I did another pupil here. And this is where I used moldable pencils. And I was really meticulous about how I was blending and things like this. And this was kind of proof of concept. And so here's Sylvie again with another screen cap. And so tonight at my leisure, I just kind of worked through this. And she was wearing a very heavy, not eyeliner, but I mean, she's doing stuff with her eyelashes. But there's a cut right here where it's like there's lashes and then a break and then lashes. And she has really blue eyes. So does Jamie, for that matter. And the challenge is to get that gradation where you show that the lashes are there and then there's that cut and then keep going. So I used 4 different pencils of this, complemented with this as I drew in the roughing with the number 2. And then I started with 2B, and then I did 4B, and then I did 9B for my finisher. But now look at the nuance. That it's not just a simple circle or square to say that there's some light in her eye. That there was a lot going on. I don't know what was going on behind her camera. But it wasn't just a round pupil. It's like there was shapes you had to really pay attention to. And if you're going for realism, you've got to pay attention to these level of detail. So this is by no means like a 1-to-1 copy of her exact eye, because I'm not that good. I'm still new. And so compared to what I used to do, we've been over this. I'm not going to rehash all this, but compared to what I used to do, this is light years improvement in weeks, and not many weeks. The key is I work on this every day, even just for a little bit. But I'm definitely seeing the improvement, and that's just in eyes. And so I started to do noses, and it's too soon, and I'm really not finding the right instruction. I mean, even Sylvie, as much as I love her videos, maybe I need to find one where she went more explicit into nose stuff, or maybe I need to break down and do her Patreon. But a lot of people's approach is much more anime, and I want to get away from that. I want to get into drawing what's actually there. But I'm also looking for kind of tips and tricks to get me started. So maybe again, what gets me started, I don't want to draw on this because this is my nice sketchbook. But what'll get me there would be if I draw like maybe triangle and then roughen the triangle or something. Or she did like a hidden Mickey where it was a big circle and 2 circles on the side, and then that was your 3/4 nose. And it worked, but it was very petite. And I've noticed that she has a tendency to draw kind of petite looking women. And so because of that, I don't want to adopt somebody else's style, maybe even unwittingly, or like I'm not seeking to have someone else's art style for sure. I went through all that with high school with anime, trying to draw like anime. But I'm much more interested. I do want to draw in the realistic style for my own selfish reasons. Um, but to do that, there's just a whole host of fundamentals. And I feel in some ways like I'm on a crutch going back to doing the eyes. But on the other hand, it's like, well, this is important. Like, it's very, like in person, very stunning to see how this is coming along. And to me, like, basically it's crap, meaning that there's going to come a time when I look back on this and say, man, remember when I thought this was good? But it is good. You know, compared to what I was capable of doing in the past, this is an improvement. And things I'm going to do in the future will be an improvement over this. And that informs other areas of my life, such as my writing. Anyway, that's what I have to say about that. Thanks for watching. Fabulous!
Yeah.